Hey everybody, Pat here from West Corners Custom Cycles. Welcome back to the Underground Garage. We're back out here on the Virago. If you caught the last video, you seen we had the front end all straightened around. That's taken care of. I'm still on the fence about these bars. I might get some 8-inch or 10-inch apes on them. That's why I haven't put the new handle grips on it yet. But anyway, this video we're going to get to the rear end on this thing. We're going to pull everything off it. We're going to take the tire, the rim, the shocks, the brake hub, the differential, everything, swing arm, everything's coming off, and it's all going to get replaced. I've already got different parts to put on. Some I had to go through, prep, paint, make look better, but everything looks a lot better than the ones that are on here, that's for sure. Like I've been saying through this whole build, it may not look 100% new, but it looks 100% better than it did. And while I've got all that apart, I'm going to scuff up a few spots on this frame that need attention, hit them with some gloss black paint, let that dry, and then we'll get this thing all back together. Then I'm going to get on the fuel and what we're going to do with that. I want you guys to see that, but let's get this rear end taken care of. All right, let me get you in here. Okay, like I said, we're replacing everything on this. Tire and rim are coming off, differentials coming off, shocks are coming off, swing arms coming off. Probably going to pull that foot peg there that I cleaned up and made look better. Pull that off so I can paint the rear end of this frame up while it's all taken apart. But all right, I'm going to get on this thing, get it all pulled apart, and I'll be right back. All right, I want to show you what it takes to pull this rear tire with this rear differential shaft drive. Everybody thinks it's really tough. They think it's harder than the chain, and it's really not. You have a cotter pin right here. That's it. That goes in the axle nut. Then you have a 21mm nut right here. Break that loose. Take it all the way off. Then over here you have a 10mm pinch bolt. That pinches on the end of the axle. You can see your axle spacer right here. This is the 10mm pinch nut. Take this out. It'll release the end of the axle. And then you take a rubber mallet, you whack the end of the axle and you knock it through all the way out that way. You know what? I decided I'm going to show you this in real time so you can see how long it actually takes. This is literally a 5-minute job. I'm going to pull this axle nut. Set it off to the side with the cotter pin so we don't lose it. Then I'm going to take this 10mm bolt out of here. It's being stubborn. I already loosened it up and hit it with some PV Blast. It's surprising how long or how quick it is to take one of these wheels off. And what's nice is when you got it on the center stand, it's already up in the air. So it makes it really easy to work on the rear end of these. Okay. There's your bolt. That's all it is. No nut on the other end. End of the swing arm is threaded. Then you have on your brake activation rod, there's a wing nut. Unscrew that. And when you take this off, put the wing nut and the barrel back on the end of the rod and put your nut back on there so you don't lose it. I probably should have loosened all this stuff up right to where it almost comes off. There, if you push your brake pedal, this will pop out. There's a spring on the end here. And there's a barrel that goes through that brake lever on the rear hub. So put that all back together. Put your nut on the end. That way you're not looking for it. When you go to put it back together, it's all there. There. Now the only thing else we have left is the brake stabilizer rod. You can't see it from where the camera is. It's right down here on the bottom of the hub. It is a 13 millimeter nut and bolt. You take this off and literally knock the axle out, and this is ready to go on the ground. It's that simple. And this will not only remove the rear tire. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me see if I can move the camera over for you. Now that I took this rod off, you can see the whole brake hub moves. This brake hub will come off with the rear tire when I knock the axle out. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone. Now, take your mallet. Use a rubber mallet so you don't screw up the threads on the end of your axle. Knock it out of there. Of course, lubing that up would have probably helped some, but you use a 1/4-inch drive extension to knock that the rest of the way out of there. Boy, it wants to fight me the whole long way. You can see this part of the axle is fat. I don't know if you can still see it. The end part, the inner part is skinnier. Once that gets out, it'll slide right out. And it has a hole in the end of the axle here where you can stick a screwdriver in. Work it out the rest of the way. There you go, set it on the floor. Then the only other thing you need to do, hold that brake hub in like that and just kick the wheel off to the side. It should wiggle right out of there. In theory. Sure, it's been a long time, so there we go. Since this one's been off of there, and that's it. Wheel it right out of there. There you go, people. Brake hub and wheel off. I don't think that took 5 minutes. So, set that off to the side. And now, we got the 2 shocks. And we got the differential to get off, and then I'll show you how to get the swing arm off. Okay, let's get in here at a better angle. All right, as you can see, this part's pretty self-explanatory. On both shocks, you got a nut. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. Got a nut down here, you got an Allen up here on this one. It's usually a nut on top and bottom, whatever it happens to be on the bike you're working on. Pull the top ones, pull the bottom ones, wiggle them off of there, put them on the ground. I'm not going to make you watch me do that. I'll be back in a second when I got those off, and I'll show you how to get this differential off of here. Just so you know, These are a 6mm Allen. That way you're not stripping it out. Do not use an American Allen wrench. Bottom nuts are 17 mil. It may take a little persuasion to get them off there. They've been on there a long time. But there you go, and you can see why we're replacing them. I know I showed you in the front end video that I had another pair of chrome shocks without the gold trim from a 94 Virago that I did, but I think I'm going to go ahead and order a new set of shocks. The ones for Honda Rebel that go on, they'll fit right on here, and they're 2 inches lower, so it'll lower the bike a little bit, give it a little better stance. I did that on the 94 build. Like I said, that build is on the channel if you want to check it out. All right, I'm going to get this other shock out, and we'll be back to get the differential off. All right, the only thing left to do is a 19mm drain plug on the bottom here. I know I just put this fluid in here, but I'm going to drain it out because it's going to be sitting around the garage, and I don't want it leaking out this breather up here. So we're going to let that drip for a while. Then we're going to come back, pull all 4 of these bolts here, and this whole unit's just going to slide right out. That's all there is to it. There's nothing more to it than that. All right, we'll be back in a second. Okay, everybody, I'm back. This is done draining. I took the liberty of putting the drain plug back in, snugging that up. Now we got to pull out these 4 bolts, or nuts, so that we can take the differential off. And literally, once you get these off, it just slides right out. This part of the swing arm is hollow, and there's a drive shaft that goes up through it. Goes up to a universal joint. And it's got a spline on the end of the shaft that goes up through this. And a male, it's got a short drive shaft with a spline on the end of it that goes up through there. And the universal joint has a female end that is splined. They fit together, and that's how that works. That one just wants to, well, the whole stub coming out of that one. Okay. I guess we needed that to be 2 inches long. There we go. And this is the last one. As you can see, once you take the shocks off, I got a milk crate right here supporting the swing arm. And there you go. All there is to it. And there's a spacer in here, don't lose that. And so you can see, that's the spline end that goes into the universal joint. Okay, that's all there is to that. I'm going to back out here a little bit, get reset up, and then we're going to work on getting the whole swing arm here off. Got a cap here, bolt here, one on the other side. I'll take you through the whole procedure on how to get that off, and then we'll be down where we got to be. I am going to remove this foot peg and mount here again. I don't know how well you can see it. I'll bring you in here a little if I can. Well, it's not going to let me, but you can see there's a, I'll go around and show you the frame's pretty rough on this. I want to clean it up and hit it with some fresh paint, make it look better when it's all done. This is really the only part of the frame that you're going to see. Probably won't even see this because of the seat, but you're going to see all this down here, and it's in a little bit of rough shape. But okay, be back in a second. All right, everybody, we're back. Now, to pull this swing arm, get this fuel line out of the way, take a screwdriver and gently, there's a little gap under here where you can get a screwdriver in there, gently pry it out a little bit, work your way around. It'll pop off of there, ding, just like that. There's a nut in here. It's got some fold over tabs on it. So we're going to take a hammer and a punch, just like that. And we're going to knock them up off of there. Try and get up under it. Okay, they bent both of them over. You really only need one, but they wanted to make sure it didn't move. And somebody's been in here before and replaced the swing arm at some point. Like, ow. Like I said, everything has been replaced on this. Somehow, some way, for some reason. The motor and everything else. Now, this is a 1 1/16 inch bolt or 27 mil. Well, it's 27 mil, but 1 1/16 will work on it. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to grab a breaker bar. This will make life a whole lot easier. There we go. And the reason I know somebody's been in here and replaced this is because where this part of the swing arm here meets up to the motor here, there's a rubber boot that goes in here. Goes over to both of them, just keep dust and dirt out, and it is not there. So somebody took it out. I since have gotten one off eBay, so when we put this back together, there will be one in there. Now, this just turns out of here, and then we go to the other side, and it has the same kind of cap, and on the other side there's a nut, and I'll show you when we get there. The other side's a two-parter. This piece is in two parts. So, we pull this out, and as you can see, that's ready to go. I'll support the back of this swing arm a little better. Doesn't go crashing to the ground. And we pull the other side out. All right, let me get you to the other side here. Okay, on the other side here, basically the same thing. Of course, with this exhaust they put on there, it's going to make it difficult for me to get this on there, or off of there. I can't get up underneath it where I want to be. Okay. If I can do this without destroying anything. There we go. I just used the rubber mallet. Pop that off of there. Like I said, there's another nut right here that is the same size as the other side. Wow, somebody's got them on there a lot tighter than they need to be. As I will show you when we go to reassemble everything. So, this will just spin off of here. Once you break it loose. Then this part has a 6mm Allen in the center of it. And of course, I put my Allen away. All right, stick that in the center, and this isn't in there tight at all. It's in there barely finger tight. I'll show you, like I said, the specs once we go to reassemble everything. So hang on to your swing arm, because when this comes out, this is going to drop. On mine anyway. The other one, usually, because it's got the rubber boot on the other side, it wouldn't fall. But this one, as I just told you, doesn't have that. So take this out. There's that. Well, set it on the ground or drop it like I did. And your swing arm will pull out just like that. And like I told you, there we are. There's the swing arm. And you can see, this is why we're changing it out. I mean, you can see how rusted up it is. I'll get you in here for a better look. I'm going to clean this chrome rod up. Right here, the brake stabilizer rod, we'll get that all cleaned up like new. That'll go with the new swing arm. So now I can take this and that out of the way. Like I said, I'm going to take this off of here. I'll get all this stuff out of the way. We're going to clean up the, we're going to clean this frame all up. Get all this cleaned up around on both sides, and the fender struts are going to cover the rear part. This is really the only part you're going to see, but I'm going to scuff that all up, hit it with a wire brush wherever it's rusty, and get that cleaned up and hit. I'll show you. I take a neat little trick. Take tin foil and put it all over anywhere you don't want it. Overspray saves you a lot from masking off. Tin foil will conform right to everything. I'll show you when we get to that part. All right, that's it until I get back here for the paint, which will be in a few minutes. All right, everybody, there you go. There's the aluminum foil masking job. Just quick and painless. You just want to shield whatever it is you don't want paint on, and be able to get a nice coat of paint on there. Like I said, I'm just touching this up. It's mainly just this square right here. There will be fender struts covering that up. Tank will cover this up. Seat will cover the rest up over there. So it's all pretty much going to be covered except right there. I scuffed it up with a wire brush, scuffed it up with some 220 sandpaper, and it's ready to go. I'm just gonna hit it with paint. Just like this. That's it. Just go around it, hit it lightly. Try not to get it all over your garage, which is what I'm trying to do. That's the footrest that I already painted. I don't want to get black paint on. As you can see in the background, over here I covered up my bike with a sheet, so I'm not getting anything on that. So be careful if you're doing this in your garage that you got covered up what you don't want getting oversprayed. Trying to be as deliberate and direct as I can when I'm spraying this. Okay, I think that's about it on that side. Now I'll go around to the other side and whack that. Be back in a second. Hey everybody, I'm back. It's the next day. As you saw, I got this frame painted up. I want to bring you in here, show you how that turned out. I had the heaters going on out here last night till probably 9 o'clock. Shut them down. I'm out here again today and heaters are back on. I want this paint to cure up good. I'm going to start getting this whole rear end back together, and before I do, I'm going to take you outside. I've got a blanket laid out with all the parts that I took off of this and all the ones that are going on it to replace it, so you can see the difference and you know, see why we're doing it is to make it look better, but you can see the difference between all the parts and how much better the ones going on are going to look than the ones that came off. All right, let me get you in here. Okay, this is how this paint job turned out. Cleaned it up nice. Like I said, this is the only part of the frame you're going to see. There's a side cover that goes in this big hole. All right, I'm going to take you outside now, let you see how shiny that turned out. Looks way better than it did, that's for sure. Okay, let's go outside. Okay, these are all the parts. Everything that came off. This is the swing arm that came off, the one that's going on, tire that's going on, the one that came off. I'm going to get you in here so you can see them better than you can right here. Okay, as you can see how horrible that one looks and how much better that one looks. These engine guards were all rusted up. I cleaned them up. They're actually painted with chrome paint, which really matches the powder coating from the factory on this differential really well. And over here, you can see what this, well, first the rear shocks, how horrible they are. This is the drive shaft that came off of it. Now this is the one that's going back on it. Looks much, much better. That one I also cleaned and painted. This is the nice clean chrome brake hub, the tire that's going on it, and the rim. This here's the ones that came off of it. Obviously, you can see why I wanted to change everything out. And all this stuff that I'm changing it out with is stuff that I took off the 94 build. I already had this stuff in the garage. These are the fender struts that are going on it. These are 3rd generation. And these are the ones that came off it. They're in pretty rough shape. I swapped out the blinkers. Excuse me. These here were the front blinkers that were on the 94. These are the rear blinkers that were coming off this bike. The reason I changed those is because they have a riding light that's on all the time, make me more visible. Now this stuff here is stuff that came off the bike originally. The rear fender, the toolbox or glove compartment, whatever you want to call it, and the backrest. Now those things I cleaned up with rust remover, like I showed you in the prior videos, and gave a heavy coat of wax to hopefully keep moisture and all that from happening again. This is the book rack that was on the back of the backrest. Clean that all up. It's nice and shiny chrome. But there you go. Those are all the parts. You can see why I'm trading them out. Make this thing look a whole lot better when it's back together. A whole lot nicer. All right. I'm going to get in the garage, start getting the swing arm on, show you how that goes. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody. Time to get this boot on here that was actually missing. This goes around your U-joint for your drive shaft. I'm going to try and show you. That's your U-joint right here. You can see me moving it around here. That's where your drive shaft goes in. So, this boot has a hole in the bottom of it. That goes down. It's got 3 tabs on it. This tab here goes to the outside of the bike. I'm going to try and show you. You can just barely see in front of my fingernail. There's a little ridge on that, on this gray piece of the motor here. And that's what this is going to go around. See the groove in there? All right. You snap that on there. Like so. Let's see, do I want that? I guess I do want that. Make sure your wiring and stuff is where you want it to be. And you'll have to work it a little bit. I had to do one of these before when I changed the differential on the 94 chopper build. They're not too horrible. Yeah, it's fighting me. Almost there. It doesn't feel like it's. There we go. Now it's on all the way. Alright, see how good you can see that. Now when your drive shaft goes on, you got to wiggle that in here, and the end of the drive shaft is going to go inside this side of that boot. So I just painted that and I don't want to get it all pawed up, so I'm going to go wash up, try and work this thing in here and get it in here without scratching it up or getting it all greasy. Be back in a minute. All right, everybody, see if we can get this swing arm on here and get that accomplished without too much difficulty. This lip here on the swing arm, you have to get inside that rubber boot we just put on. This is just tape from when I sprayed it. Take it off both sides. And make sure your plug is in when you go to put it in. Okay, I got the milk crate here to try and help out with things. Take a little wiggling to get it in where it's got to go. What am I catching on? There we go. Alright, see if I can get things wiggled into place here. Okay, about where she's going to be. I like the way the paint turned out on that. Now, going to take our bolt here. Put it in the side here. I think we're going to have to get it in that boot first. I was hoping that would help it stay in place, but we're just going to have to do what we got to do. A little tool here might help us get it in where it's got to go. Oh, that's not going to be fun, boys and girls. Not at all. Yeah, that's not fun at all. Okay, got it in there. Now I want to make sure that U-joint, there we go, is up out of the way. It was catching and not letting this slide up where it had to go, so I could line that bolt up with the hole. Now we're good. Take our nut, our bolt. Now there's two tabs right here on the inside. They line up with the frame. There's two flat spots on the frame in there. To get this started. Okay. Just finger tighten that in so we can get the other side started. Now on the other side, if you'll remember, when we took it out, there's this piece, and then the nut went on over this piece on this side. So we got to thread this into the side of the swing arm first. Line everything up. All right, that's 6 millimeter. Now you don't want to turn either one of these in and tighten them up, because there's torque specs you have to do this with, and I will take you through that procedure in just a second here. I have a feeling I forgot something here, and I'm going to find out in a second. I can almost guarantee it. But if so, you'll learn from my mistake, which is good. Of course, now I got to take this back out. Because I forgot to take these metal spacers here out and put them in the new swing arm. I'm almost positive that that one does not have any in it, so pop her back off here. And I was correct. This one will go in here. You just go in there flush. I realized it because the bolt on the other side here went in too far. Didn't leave any threads sticking out for that nut to go on. And there's the other one. One in each side. They just fit in there, they're flush. All right, one more time. Gotta get this rubber boot on again. Okay, now we're back where we were. Gonna need that and that. Now I gotta go get my torque wrenches so I can show you the torque specs on this, and we can torque this swing arm down to where it's supposed to be. All right. Now, this side of the swing arm, you're going to take and you're going to tighten down to 100 millimeters. All right, everybody, after going online and converting millimeters to foot-pounds, we're going to have supposed to be 100 millimeters, I guess, on this side. The internet says that that's 73.7 pounds, so I set my torque wrench to 74. So we're going to snug this down till it clicks. Back that off and get that lock washer where I want it. Keeps wanting to turn on me. Okay. Okay, there we are at 100 foot-pound, or 74 foot-pounds and 100 millimeters. Seems to go up and down okay. Now I'm going to bring you around here to the other side because there's two parts to this side. You got to tighten the inner. Well, I'll get you around here and show you. Okay, now on this side, we're going to tighten this one, this part here. This nut goes on the outside of it, but we're going to tighten the inside down to 5.5 millimeters. Which worked out to about 4 foot-pounds. I want to go a little tighter, so I went up to about 5 foot-pounds. All right, everybody. My torque wrench from Harbor Freight here, my little one. This one here is not clicking when I hit the poundage I should. My big one doesn't go down low enough. So what I did, I just put it on a regular ratchet. I tightened this up and I kept checking the swing arm until I had no more side to side play. It wouldn't move around side to side, and I snugged it up just like a regular bearing. Maybe went about another, half, well, not even, maybe an eighth to a quarter turn just to snug it up a little more. Seems to be good. It's good and free. It's tight, no side to side play. So I'm just going to leave it like that. It was only 4 pounds of foot-pounds anyway, so it wasn't very much. I think I've got it right in the neighborhood. Then we got to take this nut and put it on. And once we get this nut on there, we do the same thing we did to the other side. We crank it down to 100 millimeters or 73.7. I rounded up to 74 foot-pounds. So back up where it's got to go. I turned it down to see if I could get it low enough to do the center part, but that didn't happen. Okay, 74 foot-pounds. There we go. And that should be it. Everything's tightened up, ready to go. Swing arms on, goes up and down, no resistance. Feels good. No play in it. So, there we go. Bring it back here around the other side. Okay, everybody, I am back. I had to run over to the parts store, get some RTV. Before I marry these two parts together, I want to put a little RTV around, a little gasket maker around the inside here, just to keep any moisture. It's probably not going to get much dirt in there, but if I ever get caught in the rain, I don't want water getting in there. So, I'll throw a little RTV on there. And then I will come back. We'll stick that in there, get the splines matched up, and bolt it down. Be back in a second. All right, everybody, I'm back. I videoed me putting this differential back through the swing arm here and hooking it into the universal joint. Somehow I lost the footage, so I'm just going to walk you through it. If you saw me take this out, it was just taking these 4 bolts out, the whole thing slides out. The only problem with putting it back in is you got to get the spline on the drive shaft that's on the differential to line up with the universal. Once it'll take you a little monkeying around, but you'll get it. Once it slides in, then your studs will go up through the holes and you can get your 4 nuts on and tighten them down. That's all there is to it. Don't forget your spacer here that goes on the inside of the differential. There is a plug right here that you can pull out if you got a friend, an extra set of hands, maybe able to hold that differential straight, or the universal joint up here straight for you, so when you try and put this in, might be a little easier to get in. The other thing I wanted to touch base on you with, and then I'm going to wrap this video up. I know it's getting long. Down here, I'm thinking about removing this battery box and putting an auxiliary gas tank in here. These 1100s came with a gas tank, a small one here. The one I had is all rotted out and rusted out. I can get another one online, but most of them are in about the same shape as the one I took off of here, so it's kind of hard to find one that's in decent shape. I thought about this. This is a oil tank for a Harley Davidson. I thought about seeing if I couldn't mount that in there and use that as an auxiliary tank. And this is one that I actually got off a riding lawnmower. But so I'm going to see what I can do. If not, maybe I'll just get the toolbox for the 750 that goes in here and mount this where the gas tank used to go. And that way I still got something for the side cover to mount onto. And I can just run a 750 tank with a, you know, that tank just has reserve on it. It doesn't have the extra gas tank down here that the 1100 has. But, so, that is where we're at with all that. I didn't put the rear fender on here or the rear tire because I might need a little extra room, you know, getting in the back here, depending on what I decide to do down here. If I got to relocate that battery box and I'm putting another gas tank in there, then it might be nice to have a little extra room. So that's where I'm going to leave off now. And when we come back for the next video, I'll be doing gas tank, have this figured out. Then I can get the rear tire and the rear fender, seat, and everything else back on, and we can ride this up and down the road. All right. As always, people, thanks for tuning in. You know, like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends. And ride safe. As always, live life behind bars. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.